These are 3 disturbing submissions about gas station horrors. If you have a true story, submit it to Chilling Nightmares. Trust your instinct. Your life may depend on it. Last fall, I was working at a gas station convenience store in Pittsburgh, not far from Acrisure Stadium, where the Pittsburgh Steelers play. It was a part-time job, and I worked a night shift. It's not a great job, but it worked with my full-time student schedule and helped pay the bills. I had started the spring semester, so I had been there for 7 months. During that time, I became familiar with many regulars and felt comfortable behind the register at night. Most everyone who got gas or entered the store was nice and friendly. It felt like a small-town atmosphere even though we were in Pittsburgh. Sometime over the summer, this one guy started coming into the store. He never purchased gas, so he was living nearby. He always came very late at night, after 11, and before our closing at midnight. He was very tall and skinny. He always looks messy and has a Steelers cap twisted and cockeyed on his head. He was a lot quirky, and I wasn't sure of his mental acuity, but he seemed harmless. He would go to the Slurpee machine and stand for a few minutes, watching the colors go round and round, and agonizing over which flavor to pick. He'd pay and leave, seldom with a word spoken. One night he asked my name, and I told him Don. He just kept repeating it and laughing. Don, haha, Don. He was saying it to himself more than he was saying it to me. He took a big sip of the Slurpee and walked out of the store talking to himself. I'd watch him walk out of sight of the gas station property and disappear somewhere down the street. He never once purchased gas. The only thing he'd buy in the store was a Slurpee. The color flavor was the only choice that he made. He came in every night and began to greet me with, "Hi, Don." "Hi, Don." One night he purchased his Slurpee and leaned against the counter, staring out the window and enjoying the cold ice. I asked him his name. He sucked on the straw as if thinking, and after about 20 seconds replied, "John." Now I laughed, at least to myself. I always have felt that the name John was a sort of go-to fake name when you don't want to give your real name to someone. It's just so common. I also wonder if he chose that name because it kinda rhymed with my name. But I let it go and asked, "John, do you work around here?" He howled with a laugh so loud it made me jump. He said the government completely stole him out of his job. I didn't understand what that meant, but I didn't question him further. I got the sense he really didn't ever work, so I let it go, especially since he was now looking at me with an angry expression. But at the same time he said, "I like you, Don. You seem like a really nice man." And with that, he walked out of the store for the night. A week passed before John came in for his Slurpee. For regulars like John, that is unusual. When he did come in, he was a little weirder than usual and had a creepier mood about him. I don't know what it is, but I sensed something was noticeably amiss in his private life. He didn't come for several more nights, but then, one stormy night, when there were no other customers in the store, John entered drenched. I was shocked to see anyone being out in this storm, let alone to see John. Although it was a scarier image of John dripping from his soaked hair beneath the sopping Steelers cap. He was standing inside the door, staring, not moving. His expression was twisted, and he looked as if his thoughts were elsewhere. I said, "John, what on earth are you doing out in this storm?" He continued staring and not moving, and he slowly said, "I done something really bad." I said, "What could you have done that is so bad you came out in this weather?" He walked past me without looking at me and said, "I gotta hide," and slushed in his wet sneakers into the restroom at the back of the store. As he disappeared into the restroom, I became concerned and uncomfortable. Something was very different. His personally weird, as it was extra bizarre tonight. He was like those people in The Walking Dead, moving without a brain or emotion. And saying, "I done something really bad," was super creepy and unnerving. 15 minutes passed, and he did not come out of the men's room, but I didn't want to approach him, so I just let him stay there. Then there was a flash of lightning and a crack of thunder that shook the store. The lights flickered and then went out. The store was thrown into total darkness except for the exit sign above the door. I grabbed the flashlight beneath the counter, which was there for emergencies like this. With its faded beam, I went to the back to flip the circuit breakers. The breaker box was in the inventory storage room past the restrooms. As I passed the restrooms, both doors were ajar. I showed the light in, and both rooms were empty. As I entered the storage room, I could hear that squish, squish, squish of John's tennis shoes. I said, "John, you back here?" pointing the weak flashlight beam toward the sound. The light fell onto John, and he sprang from the corner, hands high, blocking the light, screaming, "I'm gonna kill you!" I deflected his wild, flailing arms and ran for the exit sign at the front of the store. I ran through the pouring rain and wind to my car, locked the doors, and dialed the police. A cruiser got there in less than 2 minutes. 2 officers entered the store with powerful flashlights. They quickly found John curled in a fetal position on the storage room floor. They took him to the police station after I told the officers he had attacked and threatened to kill me. I told the officers that when he came into the shop, he was incoherently saying he had done something very bad, but never said what that was. Sometime later, I learned his real name was Joseph, and he had beaten his roommate to death on the night of the storm. What makes this a chilling nightmare is that he would have really killed me if he had managed to grab me in the stockroom. The key to survival is the ability to adapt and overcome. This story took place in San Antonio, Texas 3 years ago. I had dropped off a friend at her home after partying on the Riverwalk with a bunch of college friends from the University of Texas in San Antonio. It was our 2nd anniversary of graduating. It wasn't too late when I dropped her off, maybe a little after 11. I had a long drive to Houston still ahead of me. It's about a 3-hour drive to Houston, so I should be home before 3 a.m. I hadn't had anything to drink, so I was fine to drive. All I needed was a coffee to go and to fill my Honda's tank before I hit the highway. The first station I visited was brightly lit, but had no cars at the pumps or parked in front of the store. The place was empty except for a single employee I could see at the register. I pulled up to the middle pump, set it to regular, and headed inside for the coffee, hoping it was fresh. As I approached the entrance, a man suddenly appeared from the shadows. I hadn't seen him when I got out to pump my gas. He seemed stumbling, so I figured he was a late-night drunk. I didn't give it much concern. It's Texas after all. I'm used to bums in Houston asking for money, and this guy would probably ask if he could bum a cigarette or if I had any spare change. As I moved to the front door, he came out of the shadow, and I could see his face in the light. He was opening his mouth to say something, but I cut him off saying, "I don't have any change," and I skipped into the store. He stood at the curb and stared at me as I entered. I wasn't thinking about him. I was tired, and my head was already on the highway. I just wanted to get home. I asked the cashier what the freshest coffee he had of the 6 pots on the stand. He said he had just made the 100% Colombian 10 minutes ago, so it should be the freshest and most flavorful. If I want to flavor it, 3 different creamers are in the bucket. I thanked him and paid with a car. He gave me small talk as I waited for my tank to fill at the pump, which only took another minute. When I headed out to my car at the pump, the derelict was no longer there. I sighed in relief as I still had no coins in my pocket. I replaced the gas nozzle, got into my car, and exited the gas station parking lot heading for the interstate. As I stopped just before turning on the road, my hair was grabbed from the back seat, and a knife was stuck into the side of my neck, enough to prick the skin and draw blood. My foot is on the brake, the blinker is signaling, and I'm frozen. I'm both shocked and terrified. I was too scared to scream, and probably knew it wouldn't be heard outside the car at an empty gas station in the middle of the night. My mind raced uncontrolled as panic gripped me. Then my father's voice said, "Think, take control of your emotions. For every problem, there's a solution." I gasped for air and calmed myself enough to say, "Do you need money? I have a credit card. I can go into the store and get cash at the ATM." "That'd be great," he said. I relaxed a little with the prospect that a peaceful resolution could be negotiated with this derelict creepster. "But that ain't going to happen," he went on. He yanked my hair hard, pulling my head back against the headrest, and whispered in my right ear so close I could feel his spit. "You don't do exactly what I tell you to do, I'll kill you," he said in an accent not Texan. "You understands?" I carefully nodded my head, conscious of the knife at my throat. "You and I are taking a little ride to El Paso. Do you understand? Don't be down and stupid, or this pretty car is going to be blood red." I said I understand. I hear my father's voice again in my mind. The key to survival is the ability to adapt and overcome. I had to stay calm. I had to think. "Can you give me the directions?" I asked as calmly as possible. I felt his grip on my hair relax. He didn't let go, but the tension was off, and the knife hand was moving off to the side of the seat. "We're gonna get along just fine," he spoke in his dreadful accent. This guy was dangerous. I could hear it in his voice. I knew he would kill me if I didn't do as he said. I was very sure he would kill me at the end regardless. My father's voice again was advising. Take action. Use the element of surprise. Be bold and you will persevere. Do whatever it takes to survive. Not a car passed us as this scene unfolded in the gas station drive, but in the corner of my left eye, I saw headlights coming down the road. I said, "Which way do I go?" The creep pointed with his knife to the right, saying, "Go that way." And as he continued to point and look in the direction he was pointing with that gassy knife, I pulled quickly out of the gas station parking lot, directly into the path of the oncoming car. The car struck the left front with tremendous impact, spinning the Honda in a clockwise circle until it struck a power pole on the side of the road. I was fine belted in, but the monster in the back without his seatbelt on bounded around, hitting his head and knocking him out cold. The other driver was fine as well. He screamed at me at first that I was an idiot and it was all my fault. When I explained to him I had no other option, I thanked him for saving my life, even if he did not know that was what he was doing when he struck my car. The gas station cashier, hearing the noise, called the police, and they arrived in less than 3 minutes. I told the officer that the man unconscious in the back seat of my car had carjacked me and held me at knife point. As he regained consciousness, the officers handcuffed him and took the knife with my blood on the blade into evidence. The man was found to be an illegal and was deported after serving a short sentence. My warning? He will be back in Texas someday, so be careful, everyone. I live in the country on a long state route that accesses I-95 up the road about a half mile from me. At that exit is a 24/7 gas station. It's been there for years, but isn't one of the loved supercenters. It's a small station with a convenient one-stop that locals mostly use, and a few people traveling down 95. Most of the time it's quiet. I use it to buy snacks and beer. It's close enough to walk, but because the state route has little of a shoulder, and what traffic there is fast, and walking through the field can get muddy at times, so I drive the 2 minutes. Last Saturday night, I was home watching TV, and my wife was at work in town. Well, I got a notion to go up to the gas station, pick up a 6 and some chips and dip, and make a surprise date night for my wife when she got home. She loves snuggling on the couch after a hard day's work at the restaurant watching NCIS, and well, I enjoy that too. We'll relax, and then I'll heat up some food for us. That's our date night. Well, I take the 2-minute drive to the gas station, and when I pull up, there's the usual one car of Sam sitting off to the side where he always parks. Sam is the owner. He's run the place for a couple of decades. Nice guy. As is often the case, there were no customers pumping gas or parking out front. I got out of my car, and the strangest feeling came over me. Hard to describe, just could sense something was wrong. I walked in, and Sam wasn't on his stool behind the counter, where he spent his time watching a small TV to pass the time. The TV was on, but no sign of Sam in the store, which you could look around from the front door. No need to call out, the entire store is visible. I figure he must be in the toilet, or perhaps in the small storage locker behind the shop. So I take my time getting my beer from the cooler and choosing snacks. My wife likes the Doritos and hot salsa, and I usually go for the Lay's chips with French onion dip. Tonight I got some sea-salted peanuts as well. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with Sam's absence because he hears that door chime when a customer comes in, and he's right there to say hello and welcome every time. He genuinely loves to interact with everyone who enters his gas station. And this is starting to feel like forever, even though it's only been a minute or 3. I call out, "Where are you, Sam?" I put my snacks down at the register and walked out the door to check his car. There wasn't anything troubling there, and I peeked around back at the storage locker, and it was locked up tight as a drum. There doesn't seem to be anyone around, and that's troubling. I have a friend who's a sheriff's deputy, so I ring him up, and he says he'll swing by. He arrives in about 12 minutes, but standing there out front feels like an hour. He searched the gas station and found Sam dead in the men's room. He had been beaten to death. More cops arrived, and they questioned me about what I knew. The story doesn't end here. I went home after being questioned and found my dog in the yard with the door to the house open. I didn't leave my house unlocked, and she was always on leader when I put her out. I could see from the yard that the door had been busted open. I immediately called my police buddy and told him someone had broken into my house. He and some other officers raced the 2 minutes over to my place from the gas station. They checked out the house and found no one there. During this time, the officers back at the gas station are reviewing the security camera footage. They could see that 10 minutes before my car pulled up to the gas station, a man entered and was seen brutally beating Sam. The camera showed the assailant dragging the body back into the restroom a minute before I entered the shop. When I walked outside to call the police, the assailant was seen sneaking out behind me and heading across the field toward my place. Fortunately, neither my wife nor I was home. I'm convinced that if I had stayed home, that murderer from the gas station who broke into my house would have killed me too. I installed a stronger front door and added a door camera that weekend. Always lock your door. I'm sure that murderer is still out there somewhere.